Soul on Fire listeners. Welcome back to the Balanced Blonde podcast, Soul on Fire. I am overjoyed about today's episode, which I feel like I say every single week, but maybe that's just a testament to loving all of my guests so much. So I know that you guys love these ladies as much as I do. Krista Williams and Lindsey Simcik from the Almost 30 podcast, which, as you'll hear me saying to them, is one of the podcasts that I listen to every single week. Their topics are incredible, so insightful, and they're just really good interviewers, really good listeners, and really cool people. They're funny, they're smart, they're into wellness and spirituality and Reiki and all of the awesome things that we talk about here on this show. Something tells me that a lot of people listening probably already know who they are. I feel like our listeners, we have a lot of crossover because we are into all of the same high vibe stuff. So if you're coming from Almost 30 and you're listening for the first time, welcome to Soul on Fire. I love Krista and Lindsey so much and their awesome community. And if you guys are Soul on Fire listeners and you aren't familiar yet with Krista and Lindsey, then you can also head to the first episode that we did together, which was a live episode at the Westfield Century City close to a year ago, April 11th, which is my half birthday, episode 83. So there we kind of go deeper into how Almost 30 began, what they were both doing before Almost 30, etc., etc. Today, we kind of dive deep and talk about a whole host of things. We talk about ayahuasca, shocker, because they were actually headed to do ayahuasca not long after we recorded this episode. And by the time this comes out next week, they will have done it. So I'm sure you can catch all the details on their podcast, and I cannot wait to hear all about it myself, as plant medicine has completely changed my life. So we discuss that. We do talk about how they met and what they were both doing before they started living this Soul on Fire life. And I really just wanted them here to dive deep with you guys into how they created the life of their dreams, because they started this podcast from scratch, came from an idea. Krista had a blog. Lindsey was a soul cycle instructor, and Krista really wanted to be a soul cycle instructor, and it wasn't working out for her, of course, because that wasn't the path that she was destined to be on, but she was destined to meet Lindsey. So I won't spoil the story, but we go into details about that. We go into all sorts of details about everything, and we really just catch up. So I can't wait for you guys to hear the episode and hear what you think. Before we dive into the episode, let me see what kind of updates I have for you guys. I've been loving all of the emails and messages and direct messages and comments about my solo episode on manifesting abundance from 2 weeks ago. That one was incredibly dear to my heart, and doing more solo episodes is my plan moving forward. So I'm still going to have on friends like I've been having for the last few weeks. I had Dara and Jenna on last week talking all about astrocartography and human design, if you haven't heard that. And then, of course, Krista and Lindsey today, two incredible friends of mine. And I plan to continue to have friends and people who deeply inspire me on the podcast. So sometimes that's people that I don't know personally, but I also am planning on focusing on solo episodes, because if there's anything I've learned from becoming incredibly sick with Lyme and having to pretty much break down my life and rebuild, is that I like doing solo episodes. I like doing things quite differently than maybe a lot of other people are doing. I was telling my friend Jessie this today. Her episode on the podcast will be out in 2 weeks. That I don't have the same aspirations as a lot of the other bloggers and podcasters that I know. Not to say that everyone's aspirations are the same, because everyone's are different, but I really don't aspire to have an office and a team, and I don't want to be really running this big company. I just want to keep creating, connecting with you guys, creating from the heart, always being excited, living my best reflector life, And being a reflector in human design requires me to spend a lot of time alone and a lot of time creating and thinking about creating and creating things in order to create other things, and just really being my ultra creative, very, very much homebody self. And solo episodes are such a fun way to connect with you guys while I'm living my best reflector life and share with you what I've learned about manifestation, spirituality, health, wellness, nutrition, all the good stuff. So the other huge update that I have for you guys is that I'm going to be studying something called the Gerson therapy. We talked a little bit about it in last week's episode with Dara and Jenna. But if you don't know what the Gerson therapy is, you're not alone. It was a therapy that was created, a diet and a lifestyle that was created by Max Gerson in the 1920s, originally as a way to treat cancer. It's this incredibly detoxifying, healthy vegan lifestyle where if you're treating chronic illness or cancer, you drink 9 to 13 cold pressed juices a day. So currently, that's what I'm doing. I'm using it to treat my Lyme disease. And just for everyone listening, I'm not only treating Lyme disease with the Gerson therapy. I'm doing quite a bit of other things as well. But I deeply believe in the healing powers of plants, and so many different things have led me down the path of studying the Gerson therapy, using it for myself to treat my own health, but also studying it to become a practitioner and a nutrition and detox coach. So at the end of this month, which is really like a week away, where did the month go? I'm going to be going to Canada and participating in a kickoff weekend for the program for the Gerson therapy that I'll be learning. So basically, I have a lot more to share on that front. Next week, you'll hear from Nicolette and myself. She is such an expert in the field of health, and specifically in the Gerson therapy and detoxing in general. I'm having her on the show next week. We already had the conversation. You guys are in for a huge treat. So there's just a lot of exciting things happening over here as far as my health. It's still pretty low energy. A lot of days I look at myself in the mirror and ask myself, how am I going to get through the day? How am I going to get through all these things that I've planned? But because I love my life and I'm very grateful for this life, it usually ends up going just fine because I'm surrounded by such kind people and such inspiring people, especially like these two guests of the show today. I was just listening through to the episode and cracking up because Krista and Lindsey are such good podcasters that at part of this conversation, it was more like I was being interviewed than they were being interviewed. And I love them for that. I feel like that Krista specifically was asking me a lot of questions about my ayahuasca journey, and she's so good at coming up with great, insightful questions. They both are. So I feel like no matter who was being interviewed at different parts of this conversation, it was really just a conversation. And if you're new to this podcast, this is a place where I like to have conversations way more so than an interview. My ultimate goal is to just have you, wherever you are in the world, feel like you're hanging out with us and you're in the room with us. So I hope that that's how you feel when you listen to this episode. Definitely be sure to support these ladies. They're amazing. If you feel inspired to rate and review the podcast, I send out my Soul on Fire yoga ebook, 400 pages of yoga goodness with pose breakdowns and flows and a Sanskrit glossary and my history with yoga. It's basically like a book. And I just send it out as a thank you to the people who take the time to rate and review this show in iTunes and send me a screenshot to jordan@thebalancedblonde.com. So before we head into this fabulous conversation, I want to take a second to thank our sponsor for the show, Silver Fern. If you're not familiar with Silver Fern brand, then number one, you should listen to episode 106 of this podcast with Charity Lighton, the founder and CEO of Silver Fern. And number 2, you should go to their website, silverfernbrand.com, and use the code BLONDE for a nice big discount on all of their products. I have so many favorites. I don't even know where to start. I use their plant-based vegan protein powder every single day. It's a gut health focused protein, 100% plant-based, loaded with digestive enzymes and probiotics. It has 20 grams of vegan protein per serving. So for my fellow plant-based humans, we need that protein. We don't always get it in our diet. It's a super clean protein. I trust all of the ingredients in there. And if I'm saying that, that means it's TBB approved. And if it's approved also by Charity, the nutritionist and CEO at Silver Fern, then I trust it. Something really cool, you might have heard me say this last week, is that I recently ordered a bunch of stuff from Silver Fern for my dad and my mom, but specifically my dad, because my huge goal in this life is just get my dad to transition to the plant-based lifestyle, but ultimately just the healthiest lifestyle possible for him. He's 72. He's very known and loved on my Instagram, Byron. Check him out in my stories. He's a next level quality human. So I have him taking Silver Fern digestive enzymes and Silver Fern probiotics. And also, the day before this podcast comes out, I'm taking over Silver Fern's Instagram stories. So hopefully those are still live by the time you listen to this and you can watch. If not, we'll probably try to save them somewhere like in the highlights so you can check out their Instagram. Lastly, I know I'm allowed to say this because I'm saying it during our Instagram takeover. We have something that we are creating together, and I'm so excited to tell you guys more. I know you're going to love it. It's something that we're putting our heart and souls into and something I've wanted to do for a really long time. So if you're curious to learn more about probiotics and digestive enzymes, why you need them, what's so important about them, why Silver Fern is the best out there on the market for gut health, listen to episode 106 and check out silverfernbrand.com. Use the code BLONDE and enjoy shopping. So now let's head into this episode with Krista and Lindsey. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Me too.
This makes me so happy that we're doing this in the comfort of my home, because the last time that you guys were on the podcast, we were live at the Westfield Century City. And that was so fun.
Yeah,
I forgot.
That was amazing.
I know, but I also kind of blacked out. I have no idea what we discussed. And I was in Bali when it came out. So I don't know if I listened to it the way that I usually do. So this is just new and exciting, and we're here.
Yay.
Your home is so beautiful and
Thank
so you and so peaceful, and
y'all should see her apartment.
I mean,
I think I need to do some kind of home tour.
Yes.
You should. It's so gorgeous.
Thank you.
But don't feel pressure to too.
I know.
Sometimes I've been thinking about that lately because we have a friend who in the wellness space, and I won't say their name, has a very, very successful business and a very multi-million-dollar house, and she's never really shown the house. And it was almost just a privacy thing that I've been thinking about as being intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That it is your sacred space in your home. So you definitely could show it, but then people, I don't know,
I completely agree.
I see both ways.
Yeah. Energetic boundaries are so important. And if there's anything I've learned from both being sick and also having these plant medicine experiences that we'll totally get into, energy is everything, and everything is energy. So things that we think are so minor, oh, here's my home on Snapchat, could be opening up to tons of people's opinions and criticisms and thoughts and everything else. And you could also just keep it to yourself, which is kind of beautiful too. So I think doing a lot of inner questioning of like, does this feel right? Does this not feel right? Is so important. And I'm glad you said that, especially as somebody who shares pretty much everything. And I feel like you guys are pretty similar. Which is why you're one of my favorite podcasts. Probably my actual favorite podcast, to be honest.
I love you.
I listen every week.
Oh, I love you.
And
So nice.
so proud of you
I love
guys.
you.
And to see how much you've grown in the last couple years is so inspiring. And I think that's what we should kick the episode off with is you guys had a vision and you brought it to life. And it took some time for everything to really take off and then take off to the point where now you're literally a top podcast. Tons of people know who you are. I have people like in Sacramento being like, oh, the Almost 30 podcast. And I'm like, I know them. And it's so cool.
We do the same with you, to be honest. We're like,
truly.
we know her. Like Ruby was like, yeah, I've joined Young Gardener Pain. I was like, we're going to her house this afternoon. So we'll talk to her about it.
Oh my God, that's the best.
I brag every time. I'm like, yeah, we text. It's like that.
Yeah, we're friends.
See?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love that we all can brag about each other. It's such a cool.
Truly.
It's just what we were talking about. We have so many friends who are also our inspirations, and we're all a community. It's so cool. So I wanted to ask you guys, like, kind of walk us through the journey from having the vision of Almost 30 to now having this flourishing podcast and brand and full-time and like speaking tour, everything. Tell us.
So Krista and I met. Our kind of intersection in this life was at a time where we were experiencing very similar transitions. I had just moved across the country. She was at the time set on becoming a SoulCycle instructor, which is my reason for moving across the country. I was a SoulCycle instructor for 4.5 years. And so we had a mutual friend who connected us. And, you know, the moment she scheduled a call with me, which was like something I had never experienced before with kind of like a friend.
Right.
She's like, I'm really serious about this.
It was a teaser to Lindsey's life now, which is me scheduling a lot, forcing people into things, making them work.
But it was cool because like I felt the passion, you know, like so I get a lot of people who ask me about SoulCycle and how they can become an instructor, and it's usually very casual, but this was very different. So I took it very seriously. And so we had our FaceTime call, and then she proceeded to, she had, I think that was your second audition.
Yeah.
And
I didn't get the first one. And then I called Lindsey for help on the second one.
Mm-hmm. So,
which I didn't get.
Which is it's a really rigorous
Meant to be.
process, truly meant to be. And that's kind of what we realized. And shortly after that, she and her boyfriend, Justin, who I love very much, they moved to LA and became really good friends of mine. And just in our conversations, I realized that like we were kind of like these two souls that were meant to meet always. And I realized just in her like honesty and authenticity in her process and where she was in her life that I could be completely myself with her. And she had been an avid podcast listener and fan, and I didn't really know about podcasts. So I started listening to various podcasts, and one day she's like, do you think we could start a podcast? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. But yes, I'm down. I was so down to just go for it. And my whole life, like creatively, has just been to like just do the creative thing and not really worry about whether it was going to become something or make me money. But this felt like it had some spirit behind it from the get-go. And I think, you know, you mentioned before, like the timing of it all and how it's over the last 2 years, it's been quite quick how much we've grown. But I do think the secret is kind of honoring the time that it takes. You know, our growth has been super organic. We didn't have like this big break and all of a sudden we have like 1 million followers and whatever. It's like, it has been so natural and gradual, and our patience with the process and our commitment to being very present for the process, I think has been, you know, a big part of our success. We've never really rushed anything. We've been super open to who has come into our lives along the way, how they've come in, And we've been very aware of the mistakes we've made and just like taking them as lessons and moments for growth. But overall, we just realized that almost 30 is so much more than us. It's not about Krista and Lindsey. It's about, how we can be stewards of the information and the inspiration and the laughs and like the honest conversations that will hopefully empower women all over the world to be able to do the same and create community where they are. And that's why we're on tour and seeing where this wave takes us.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that moment of realizing that your brand is so much bigger than you is the catalyst for so much more. And I've had that in my own way multiple times of like realizing it and then forgetting it and then realizing it and then realizing it even deeper. And it makes everything more fun because you realize you have a community behind you. Yeah, the community is everything. And you guys have built such a beautiful community. So that's so cool.
Yeah, I think about when I was auditioning for Soul Cycle, one of the things that attracted me to Soul Cycle was being a leader and, facilitating energy of a room. But another thing was the community. I love the Soul Cycle community. Lindsey knows as an instructor, they just do a really great job of fostering that sense of connectedness and that sense of community. I'll say it again. So, when we created Almost 30 and we started this conversation about the transition from your 20s to your 30s, I didn't see that being had anywhere. And I felt like I had been going through things that I didn't think I was the only one. I had moved from Chicago to New York City to LA. And one of the big questions that I was wondering was like, is it better to have friends that you're friends with for your entire life? When you're a child through high school to college, have those same friends. But for me, I was like, I didn't have that. I had friends in Chicago, friends in New York, and friends in LA. And I was kind of struggled between these two worlds. And I was like, okay, what's best, what's not? And having Lindsey in on that conversation, I realized that there was different perspectives, different types of situations. And we wanted to just make that conversation more broad with more women around the world.
Yeah, that's such a thing about being almost 30, quote unquote, because for all of us, like in our mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, if you've lived in a few places, you've cultivated communities and friendships in different places. And I felt for a while like that is one of the hardest things in my life is having my friends, many of them so far, and then thinking like, I love my friends in LA. But reconciling with like, oh, my friends in Northern California, our kids probably won't grow up together. And I always thought they would. And what a weird thought.
And that they know different versions of you. Like the people that knew me in Chicago knew a girl that was like drinking and partying. And I'm definitely myself at my core. I have been, but just my priorities were so different. And the girl in New York, when I was really like just on the grind to be a Soul Cycle instructor and to build something different. And then the person I am in LA are just all so different. So your friends know these different versions of you and reconciling with that, as you get older. One of the biggest conversations our community has is about navigating adult friendships. How do you navigate these deep, meaningful friendships with people that their priorities are shifting so quickly? People have partners, people have husbands, wives, they're having kids, they're working much more. Time seems so much more limited. So navigating adult friendships was also like one of the things that we worked through with Almost 30 as well.
Yeah. And I think too, like, and we were just talking about it with Ruby Warrington, and I know Ruby as well, is in our early 20s and late teens, like so many of the quote unquote connections we would have were facilitated by alcohol, by drugs. Like, it's just like, what is real? It's like, I mean, I see it. I would see it when I was dating in my 20s where I would go out on a date and I would, get there sober and like be like, this guy's like, I don't feel anything. And then have a few drinks and you start to feel it, which was like a perfect example of just like how that could happen on a wider, broader scale with, friends, even with family. You could like your family a little bit better if you have a couple glasses of wine, right? So it's interesting to kind of to come into ourselves in our 30s and not turn to, alcohol, drugs, or whatever else is numbing you, and really like feel more and to be able to feel more with others who are feeling more. it does give me energy in a way that I never expected.
Yeah. So that brings me to another question. What is both of your relationship with alcohol? It's such a thing in the wellness world. Do people drink? Do they not drink? How has their relationship shifted? So I would love to know.
Yeah. So I stopped drinking probably 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I've had a few drinks. I've had maybe 5 drinks total in that time, 10. I'm not even sure, 15. But when I was in college, I drank a lot, never enjoyed it. I literally remember one time talking to a friend about drinking, and I was so hungover, and she said, you've never liked drinking. I don't know why you do it. And it struck me, but I continued to drink. Drank in Chicago. And then when I moved to New York, I was kind of separated from my group of friends who I love so dearly and was put in a place where I was really just with Justin. I had friends here and there in New York, but I had an opportunity then to kind of rewrite what I was doing as far as drinking and make a decision on my own. And I was so in love with Justin that I didn't even want to be drunk. I didn't want to be drinking with him because I wanted to be fully present in the moment, and the high that I was getting from our relationship and our love was enough. So I sort of stopped drinking then, and it's really just been such a spiritual path for me and such an honoring of who I am, and really being realistic and just thinking very frankly about the fact that drinking doesn't make me better. It was almost, I said it today, like time traveling, where I'd drink and then wouldn't be there all night. I wouldn't be present for conversations, for anything that was going on.
Yeah.
And then I'd check back in tomorrow and feel like crap. So I've basically don't drink at all. And it's been something that has been really special to me and something that I'm such an advocate for. I don't mean to be judgmental when I talk about it so passionately, but I just know that if you are drinking regularly, that there's maybe something that you're not dealing with, something, that I can speak to from experience, but it's not really doing much to serve you and the goals that you have in your life if you're going to drink on a regular basis and, dishonor your body, your spirit, all of that kind of thing.
Agreed. What about you?
So when I was living in New York City, I was a bartender at 3 different bars in the city. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I was working my tail off and, working from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. most nights and drinking all the while, whether it was on shift, I was drinking to get through and to kind of just distract myself from what was really going on. And what was really going on was, business as usual, but also low vibration. So people come into bars, the kinds of bars that I was in, late night especially, for not the best reasons. They want to escape, they want to numb out, they want to abuse alcohol. It was never just a one drink type of bar. People were coming to get, drunk. And so I just mirrored their behavior in a way. It was just, I could handle it behind the bar when I was working. I could handle a lot of liquor and still function perfectly fine. Take me out from behind the bar and it would be a different story, which is strange. But so I really became dependent on that to make myself fun and to see others as better, or someone who I'd maybe want to hang out with, because a lot of people I wouldn't want to hang. And that translated into dating. When you go on a date in New York, it's okay, we'll catch a drink and then we'll grab dinner. So there was always multiple drinks on dates. I don't remember a sober date in New York, to be completely honest. And the story in LA is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do I have a drink when I go on a date now because 1, a lot of people are sober. And 2, it's just different. People want to do things and go on a hike or grab a coffee and do breakfast, whatever it is. So it's been, since moving to LA, it's completely shifted my relationship with alcohol. I enjoy a glass of wine every once in a while. I probably drink maybe once a month, maybe twice, and that's a lot. And I feel so much better. I had vocal nodules, so that the drinking was exacerbating my nodes, which killed me. My voice is something I really honor, or I wasn't honoring at the time, but to lose it was losing a part of myself.
Yeah.
So I really, cutting down on the alcohol big time brought me closer to just feeling like myself. And I hadn't felt that in a very long time.
Wow. I love both of your stories so much.
Thanks.
I can relate so
Yeah.
much. I do think it's such a spiritual choice to forgo alcohol, which is such a social norm. And I recognize that we're really lucky to know a lot of people who are on this wavelength, because I remember a time in my life when I was the only person that I knew, a young person, who wasn't interested in drinking, and bars and clubs and partying. And thank God that has shifted. And the universe has brought so many more people into my life who have these similar approaches and mindsets. But I had the exact same thing where a friend told me, "You don't even like drinking. Why do you do it?" It was like to a T what someone told you.
Yeah.
Same thing in college. I'm like, I know. And then I kept doing it. But as soon as I was like on my own in New York, similar thing, just out of college, out of the community, friendships, sororities like that I was in, sorority, I was like, oh, I don't even like this. Then I would still do it. But I probably have had like 3 drinks last year, actually 2. And this year is the year that I'm planning on having 0, just
Love
to
that.
show myself I don't have to do something just because like of a celebration, of pressure, like New Year's or my wedding. Like people are like, oh, you're definitely going to have champagne at your wedding. And I'm like, no, I don't want to, like now, because I've kind of cleared out my body the way that I have. A couple sips of champagne gives me a hangover and makes me feel weird and kind of like tipsy. So I'm not interested.
It's also too with it. It's like, not saying like from a judgmental perspective, if you drink, you're bad and, you're not as spiritual, you're not as connected, but it's really just like providing the opportunity to question a societal norm, which I've said earlier, which is how we deal with emotions. Like right now, there's a standard that it's like, if you have an emotion or something's challenging or something's hard, here's a way you can escape. You can escape by drinking this. If you feel uncomfortable talking to guys or talking to girls or being at a bar or feeling you're comfortable in your body or uncomfortable with the person that you are, this will help you escape that. And this will provide you an out. But it's really not an out. And it's really a short-term solution for a deeper problem that if you take the time to explore and you take the time to work on, that shadow part of you, then you're able to fully integrate into who you are and become the person that, you're meant to be and become the most brilliant, beautiful version of yourself. The pain just becomes deeper and deeper if you never, recognize or work with those emotions or feelings.
So true. Yeah. I mean, that's such a good clarification. People can drink and be very spiritual and be very connected to themselves. It's such a personal journey for everyone to figure out what is their vice, what is their go-to, or what could you live without, or what do you not even like? And you're just doing it because other people are doing it. So that's been huge for me to learn very much. So love that we're on the same page. Ruby's book is incredible for that. Sober Curious. So moving back to one of my other questions, what is it like to work with a co-founder? Because I don't have one. I don't know. I think it's so cool. Tell us all about it.
I know we were talking earlier today, and she has a few interviews. You have a few interviews today, and Lindsey and I, have a few too, but it's so different for Lindsey and I because, we like help each other in conversations. She knows when to step in. I know when to step out. I know when to step in. She knows when to step out. And there's just such a nice balance of having someone that if I'm having an off day and I am, not as crisp or not really forming my thoughts in the best way, she'll step in and help out and I can step in and help out too. So that is like been the most beautiful thing. But for almost 30, it wouldn't work if it was just me. It wouldn't work if it was just Lindsey because we lay the foundation for the support and the understanding and the kindness and the joy and the laughter that we want to set a precedence for our community. And our relationship is, really important for not the standard, but it's just like our growth and seeing us grow together as business owners, as friends, as podcast hosts really allows others to kind of see themselves in us too. So it's been great. And then as far as like the business, I feel like I'm like bragging to you, but it's like amazing because Lindsey does, she does stuff on the back end with production. She does ad spots. She does creative. She does video editing, that kind of stuff related to like the creative part of the business and a bunch of different things. And then I do certain things related to the business that I'm specifically capable of. And she does her things that she's specifically capable of. So we have like a really nice synergy that allows us to like work together and get so much more done and to, just make almost 30 more than just being the podcast that it is.
And I can imagine like other, your listeners out there who have, a business and are in partnership. I think, for us, at least for me in the beginning, it was like, we want to be doing all the things so that it feels like we're supporting each other in like 360, but what is actually best and serves the business in the most productive way is allowing for each other's strengths to just shine. And like, that is what you should focus on. Cause I had a hard time like, well, let me help you with this. Like, I feel like I'm not contributing enough for this, but it always balances out as long as you are in, clear communication with your business partner. I think it will always balance out. And some seasons of the business demand more of one of the partners. Do you know what I'm saying? So like if the business, the business side of it is like just really heavy, depending on the type of business you're doing, then, the other can kind of pick up the slack in other ways, not the slack, but just kind of direct the energy in other ways. And it's just the honoring of that. Because I think the ego can get involved, at least mine, where I'm just like, how can I help more? It's like, that's not really the point. Because like Krista said, we are the foundation of it. And it is important. Like even just both of our presences is important.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's so nice to have that synergy with each other. And how do you feel that your human designs and knowing each other's human design energy types have helped with understanding how to work with each other?
Yeah. I mean, Lindsey and I are so lucky too, just because we do so much like psychic readings, astrology readings, like
human design birth
readings, birth charts, like mediums. Like we have had literally so much information about who we are presented to us and shared with us that has helped us understand ourselves better and then understand each other better, that make me feel more like myself, make her feel more like herself. And human design, for me was like one of the biggest aha moments in like my conscious life. There's a lot of different modalities of healing and of understanding people that are presented to us in LA, like astrology, like Ayurveda, all that kind of stuff. And human design, when I got it, it like completely hit me. And Jenna Zoe, who's been on your podcast as well, I'm a projector through and through. And it just really gave me permission as like in the business and in podcasting and in almost 30 to, do things that only projectors do, which is seeing the strategy, seeing the high level, being able to provide solutions for complex problems. And it's very like nerdy, nitty gritty business stuff, but it was like such a permission giver for me. And then to understand hers as well and like how ours work together is just like makes total sense, because maybe if she was a projector too, it wouldn't necessarily work as well as if it is, the way that it is.
Yeah, completely. And also to understand like how our energy is depleted and created. So it's very different for each of us. So, I get my energy from taking time by myself, and that's how I fill back up. And then I can kind of go out and be, Miss Social Butterfly and do the events and this and that. But I need to make sure that I schedule in time by myself.
You're a manifesting generator.
Yes.
MG baby. So yeah, it's been really interesting, and I'm learning more and more, as we kind of get more of these readings and read more about it. It's just really, really helpful down to, I forget the reading that we had where, certain human designs are better. They live better in like higher high rises or like on the ground,
Yeah.
just like little details like that you're not aware of in your daily life that could be contributing to your stress or making you more joyful. It's really interesting.
It is. So I've been completely obsessed with this real food vitamin that I've been telling you guys about for the last few weeks. It's called GEM Daily Essentials for Women. And basically it makes taking vitamins exciting because you're not popping another pill. It is a little bite-sized, delicious, real food vitamin that's full of 13 real ingredients. So much better to put in your body than pills, capsules, complicated tinctures, etc. There's nothing artificial in it, no binders, no fillers, no additives, nothing hidden, nothing harmful, nothing that you have to question. Basically, it just has 15 essential nutrients in it. And to get a very awesome special deal with them, you can go to dailygem.co/balancedblonde and use the code balancedblonde. So that's dailygem as in gemstone.co/balancedblonde and use the code balancedblonde. That will get you 50% off on the first month of your subscription, also with free shipping. So you get this little cute container delivered straight to your door that has a bunch of the real food vitamins in them. You can either do a one-time order or a monthly subscription. When you do a subscription, you always have free shipping. So basically, let me tell you what's in these delicious little bite-sized vitamins. It's a bunch of stuff that I would take by itself anyway, but it's rolled into one for a handy, easy little food to pop in your mouth. There's dates, which you know is my favorite food, coconut, ashwagandha, mushroom, chia seeds, curry, spirulina, chlorella, red algae, chickpeas, and just a couple other little things. It's literally all just completely real food. It's vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, corn-free, sustainably sourced, made in the USA, and algae-powered, meaning it's totally vegan. There is nothing synthetic, no colorants, and it's built for women. That's what I absolutely love about it. It tastes delicious. Women don't realize, people don't realize what we are so commonly deficient in: key vitamins and minerals and nutrients. We get stressed, we get tired, our minds need a little boost. Sometimes our skin needs a little boost, and this kind of vitamin is what will help you out. So go to dailygem.co/balancedblonde and use the code balancedblonde for a nice 50% off discount. And when you receive your vitamin, take a picture on Instagram stories, or just text it to me or DM it to me. I call that texting because it feels like it is. So I can see what you think. And now let's head back into this episode with Krista and Lindsey. Yeah, I have to agree. Learning about human design
Yours is crazy. I think about yours all the time. Every morning I'm like, Jordan's a reflector. I literally think about you being a reflector 24/7.
I love that you think about it.
I do. I'm just like, whoa, that makes more sense than anything that's ever happened.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
And
your eyes and everything about you.
Yes. I have to tell you, being on ayahuasca, which we should definitely get into next, I had so many experiences on ayahuasca. I saw so many things. Where I went, it felt like I was there for generations, for lifetimes. So truly, like, when I say that I saw a lot, it was a lot. And something that I saw super clearly was human design just making so much sense.
Wow.
Like, it was almost like the whole entire human design download came flashing through my brain, and it made all of the sense in the entire world. I saw so clearly that I am a reflector, the epitome of a reflector. And if there was any doubt that human design was not real, all my doubts were eliminated. And I also saw something that I think Jenna talks about, which is that over time, new energy types will be created because the world is changing at such a rapid pace. And even just, I don't know, 2 decades ago, manifesting generators didn't exist. And I saw that these souls from the earth that exist in the earth and not really in this human incarnation are incarnating as humans to make the world a better place and heal our world. Our world is currently in a lot of peril, and these souls are choosing to come to earth to make a really big difference and to heal. So in that moment, I did see reflectors are legit. All human design energy types are so real. And anyone on my retreat who was in that room with me could tell you that I was transmuting energies and things from them were flying into me, demonic things, crazy, scary things, like basically having a full-blown exorcism of sorts. People's energies were flying into me and then flying out of me. And I was like screaming from like the most guttural place ever.
My gosh.
Because demons from them were flying into me and then flying out because I was like casting them all out. So that by the end of the ceremony, we were all healed or healing.
Wow. So you were healing everyone in that way.
Wow.
Yes. But also I felt as a reflector, I had to go extremely deep into the medicine, basically as deep as one could go. Not that everyone else's experience was not deep, because it definitely was, but I had to go into parts of hell, demonic hell, in order to heal.
Was it your own like demons, or was it like just general?
General.
Okay.
I mean, it was my own, it was general, it was
Wow.
everything. I had to go there to the depths of hell in order to experience what it felt like and bring that back to the world and heal myself and heal others by seeing it. And I know it sounds crazy, because if this is something you haven't done before, it's a wild thing to imagine, but I had to see the depths of terrifying, demon-laden hell in order to come back to this body and bring what I saw with me to heal this body and everything that I have been suffering from and that other people suffer from too. So heal myself to heal others and heal the lineage as well. Like,
do you feel gratitude? I'm confused.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how does that happen where you see the lowest of lows? Like, wouldn't you feel
scared?
And this is my own thing with shadow, is I'm still scared of it. How did that make you feel good?
It did not make me feel good in the moment. I was terrified. I was screaming. I didn't trust anyone. People were trying to help me. The facilitator, the helpers, everyone was sitting around me and trying to brush my hair back, trying to offer me some food or try to pick me up and take me outside. Endless different things people were offering.
Are you like fully aware of their intention?
No.
Oh, wow.
You're like so in a different universe.
Wow.
I was just like, get away from me. I said, no, get off of me, like all this stuff. And I
cannot picture Jordan saying that.
I know, honestly.
No, I know. When I came to, I was like, what have I done?
You're like, I'm sorry.
What did I say?
Yeah, you
Literally.
like walk downstairs in the morning, you're like, hi.
No, that's exactly what happened. So
honestly, that's probably the first time in your life you've ever been like, no.
And that's why it was so healing.
100.
Yeah.
I had to let it all out. And it's not all mine. It's like ancestral. Grandmother's pain, great grandmother's pain. They showed it to me. So I was with my ancestors, with my grandparents. They showed me what I was transmuting. They showed me how to heal. And that's what I was doing. So to answer your question about how did that make me feel grateful, I didn't believe that I was ever going to get the chance to come back to this life. I didn't understand what people were saying to me and things that they were saying. I was hearing something different than what they were saying to me out loud. I thought they were saying, like, we're keeping you here for generations. You're addicted to this medicine. You have to drink it constantly. I was screaming for Hudson and Jonathan. Screaming for Jonathan. I'm like, I want my life. So to be taken to this place where I believed I might never get to experience my life again, which was truly terrifying, made me so deeply, deeply grateful for this life.
Wow. Did you see, like on the other end of the spectrum, did you see like beauty and
100%?
Yeah. Angels.
I saw the greatest beauty I've ever seen. So the first night was like very angelic, very I said to everyone, I have no demons. Like my soul lives in the most beautiful world. I want to take everyone there. It's the happiest world, happiest place ever. And I saw other people struggling, crying, dying, like in their own, they obviously didn't die, but like where they were, they did. And I just felt for them so deeply. Like, let me take them to my soul's world, because my soul's world is beautiful, full of like colors and shapes and all this amazing happiness. And it was the next night that I had to go under the earth very deeply to the very scary place. So what I ended up really doing was that I saw both worlds, and I knew that I had to go there. And that's where I was with my ancestors, and they taught me, like, this is the pain that you carry. This doesn't belong to you. You came to this earth to heal that pain for our whole lineage. So I felt that very deeply. And then that's what I did on the second night, was like, went through this exorcism hell to come out of it. Like, I mean, it was like on and on, like the sickest I've ever been. I was terrified. I felt like I definitely had psychosis. It was like crazy. And then was so, I know, okay, not to scare you, because it's not everyone's experience.
Hey, everyone,
is different.
we're doing ayahuasca in March.
Yeah, honestly, Lindsey and I are doing ayahuasca together in March.
Yep.
At a place.
Okay, so we have to, for like,
but this is good.
You definitely can't compare your experience to anyone else, because every experience is going to be so different, even every experience of your own.
Yeah.
So, as the facilitator told me, of the thousands of times he's done it and the thousands of times he's led ceremonies with people, he's never seen even remotely the same thing happen twice. So I'm like, so I'm not going to do that again? And he's like, you have to let go of what you think different is. Like, you could scream again and thrash and have that whole experience, but you'll be in a different place. It'll be different. All those demons were released, and then I had never felt so light and so happy and so free in my life.
Wow.
And I still feel that way.
Wow.
And it's been almost 3 weeks. So let's talk about you guys doing ayahuasca.
I want to talk about your eyes too.
Oh, okay.
Like the change, like it's just like, it's been so crazy. Like you look different.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is, you know what I mean? Like what is
of course.
that?
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
I know what it is. I mean, it's so fun because you guys saw me right before I left. I think I was leaving in like a week or two to do ayahuasca. And I was feeling really sick, like really weak and tired, just like I had for all of 2018 and most of 2017. And doing ayahuasca, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about why it cleared so much. But one of the things that it does is completely opens you up as a channel and a vessel to higher beings, your higher self, angels, whatever people believe in. So whether you believe in spirit guides or God or just like yourself as a higher soul, I feel like that's what it opened me up to. So where other drugs, like not something like ayahuasca, total plant medicine, like LSD, these other things, they actually like muddy our channel, and they can make us feel like we're really connected. And like I've had those experiences. I haven't done LSD, but I've done other things. And eventually when you're done, scientifically, it kind of just like muddies you up, where ayahuasca clears. So it just like cleared.
Do you feel like a shedding? I almost
yes.
Yeah, I feel like like seeing you after, I'm like, it does feel like shells fell off.
100%. I feel I was carrying the weight of lifetimes of generations of pain, which was like I said, like it came from my paternal grandmother's side, and like they showed me all of this. Whoa. And I was able to heal her where I was, and heal her ancestors to heal myself. So I just saw, like, I reached this new state of consciousness where, in this new state of consciousness, I'm not really sick. So it's weird because, like, yes, my body is still sick, but my consciousness is not. So
Beautiful.
that just accelerates the healing of the body.
Wow.
Yeah.
As the last thing, can you talk about like the relationship between you and the room?
Yes.
Like,
oh my God. I mean,
do we need to interview the people in our room?
I know.
yes. I mean, I was the only person, and I feel this is why I know I'm like going back to human design, and I could see everything. I'm like, oh my God, if this was like any type of universal test to show me that human design is so real. I was the only person in the room that had this very loud, like public experience where everybody else was in their head and could tell us after, in like the circles that we sat in to share their experience. Everyone told me what I experienced. I didn't tell them because I was saying it all. They're like, you talked to this person, like who's Hudson, who's Christian, like why were you talking about Orange Theory? And I'm like, oh my God.
LOL.
I'm like, I know. And I talked about Orange Theory because I was so afraid that I wasn't coming back to this lifetime, that I was trying to say, Jonathan works at Orange Theory.
Yes.
And I'm like, just trying
You're like,
to
when I
prove to
die,
them.
bury me at Orange Theory.
Yes. I know I was trying to prove to them, I know my life. Like, I know where my fiance works. Like, you know, because I was in a deep state of psychosis, and I was trying to explain to them, like, in this terrifying way, like, I know who I am. I'm Jordan. I'm like marrying Jonathan, and like, who knows what else I said.
Wow.
Crazy.
Did you get sick?
Yes. That night, yes. I threw up a lot.
Threw up.
But the previous night, no.
Okay.
And the third day, no. Yeah. So the room, I mean, it was hilarious because you guys know me. Like, I'm not going to disturb 17 people. That would never.
That's the truth.
I would never. Like, I would rather be alone. Like, no.
Totally.
And I did. Like, I deeply, deeply, deeply did. But it was so healing rather than traumatizing because everyone was so loving. Because when you're going on this journey together in a group, like, this is what you're doing. Like, you're there to heal and you're there. There are no mistakes. So it's not like, oh, Jordan was like the rogue mistake in the group, like wish she wasn't here. It was like, we're all supposed to be here together because they had to learn something from my exorcism.
Wow.
They had to learn to either like stay in their own mind instead of get distracted by the outside world. Don't judge people so harshly because like we are literally all one. And people told me like very honestly their whole experience with my experience. So some people were super honest. They were like, at first I was so upset. I wanted them, you know, the facilitators to force you to go outside. I thought you were ruining it for me. I thought you were ruining it for my wife. Like, this is what one man was saying to me. And then something washed over him and he felt like, no, I just want to send her all of the healing energy and love because I'm actually fine. That's how he was feeling. I'm like really strong and fine. And I really want her to be too. Just like you connect to this place of love, deep love within yourself, which was beautiful.
Wow.
Other people were like, I wasn't affected at all. Like, I just wanted to send you. Every person told me, like, I sent you so much love, so much energy, so much healing energy. And most people said, I wasn't bothered at all. And I wanted just to let you know that, like, telepathically, I feel like you knew. So I was like, oh my God. Because the first thing I came to like being awake and I'm like, what did I just do? Like, I had like punched people, like crazy stuff. And they're like,
love that detail for the end.
Oh yeah. Kicked like because they were trying to carry me and I wouldn't let them. So yeah, the first thing 2 people said to me when I like came to was, that was awesome. And I was like, what? And then I realized like, wait, I just did the craziest thing I've ever done. and people don't hate me. And it's like it was the most freeing thing I've ever felt.
Wow.
Because it was like, honestly, just to boil it down to super simple, it was like I finally showed my truest self, like dark parts and everything to the world and was accepted.
Wow.
So
It's beautiful.
it's kind of
Come on.
what ayahuasca can do for you.
I'm absorbing that.
Yeah.
That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Especially for you and just in your line of work thus far in your life,
Right.
like where it's always been about, you know, you've always been so honest, but I think like just showing kind of the highlights as we do on Instagram, you know, and I think I'm always fearful to kind of share something that's not so pretty or like something like that. So
For sure.
Yeah, I was saying
It's
earlier to
healing.
Jordan that she's such a great representation for ayahuasca. You know, you have and I said this before, but you have such a great reputation in the industry. People trust you so much. And, you know, you just come from such a heart-centered like place that it's really great that like you've started this conversation and this journey, and, you know, we can just learn from you and follow you and, you know, use you as a resource for things, this healing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for you guys
Same.
to have
Thanks, us too.
an experience. Like, I can't believe I didn't know that you were doing ayahuasca until right before we started recording, because it is very much off the beaten path. People don't often do this.
We were supposed to do it in January, but something happened and we had to reschedule. So we were supposed to have done this in January already, but you know, as things happen and
it's all
always
meant to be.
So now we're going to do it like right around my birthday in March, and it'll be Lindsey and I in Costa Rica, and it'll be crazy.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy too, because like we've spent a lot of lifetimes together.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, like what shows up as far as like our lifetime relationship and energy there.
Yes. So what are your intentions going into it? Do you know?
I have some. I mean, you know, mine is really a lot of like ancestral healing. I want to heal my relationship with my like body and just that pretty much in general. And then I'm also just curious of what's going to present itself to me. Like I feel like there's a lot of healing that I need to do that maybe I don't know of. You know, the way I interact with the world, I try and be very conscious and aware of how I engage with people and how I engage with energies and everything like that. But there's always things that I'm missing, you know, so I just want to see what there is in store. And I'm always like down to learn and grow. But I feel like mine will probably get pretty dark at points for sure. Like when I go back in my family stuff, it'll be very interesting. And it'll just be like, give me so much, like, as a last thing, it'll give me so much like sympathy, I'm sure, you know, for their journey.
Yeah. I'm in the process of thinking more about it, but I think there's going to be a lot of ancestral stuff. I just like I do feel some sort of emotional weight of the women in my like family lineage of what they've been through and what they've settled for. And I know it's part of my purpose to kind of like change that.
Flip the script.
And so I know that's going to come up, but then also too, just I think my relationship with my potential and creativity has always kind of been a bit of a block for me. So I'm curious about that. And then, I don't know. I want to be as open as possible. I think in the beginning when I found out we had the opportunity to do this, I was scared. You know, because I've never done any drugs besides smoke weed. So that's why we want to do some mushrooms before we go.
We're going to do mushrooms to open it up a little bit.
So
and I want to try and like eat really clean, you know, like
we're going to
maybe
do the
even
full.
just like do something just to clean my vessel as, you know, much as possible.
That would be smart.
Yeah. Did you do that at all?
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
In my group, but I think the way I eat is like salt, oil, sugar-free, vegan. Like that's a really good thing to do before an ayahuasca journey. Or even just like fully vegan, and which you do, but we're coming from a pretty healthy place. So just extra, like extra sleep, extra self-care, extra meditation, just so that whatever needs to come through will come through. And they do say, I mean, I've heard this, not a total expert, but like the more toxic your body is, the more you might purge and the more you might have like a really harsh physical experience.
Wow.
So that's helpful.
Wow. Are you going to do it with Jordan, by the way?
Jordan Dorso?
Yeah. Or your man?
Oh, Jonathan.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm like, my other best friend Jordan. I'm like, he wants to.
Are you going to do Jonathan?
Yes. So Jonathan's going. So he wants to have his own experience the way that I did.
Justin would be the same. He always says, he's like, I want to do it on my own. I'm like,
well, I called him after the third day because, like I said, I felt like I had been gone for multiple lifetimes. So I'm like, I haven't seen my fiance in years. Like this feels so weird, or my family or anything. So I called him from like the little house phone because we're on like a campsite, and from this random number in Los Gatos, California, he answers, and I'm like, oh my God, hi. Like, I can't believe we ever talked about doing this separately because I need you here. Like, I had an exorcism. And he's like, what? And he's like so worried, but then I'm telling him everything. But because it was so powerful when I came back and shared so much with him and like my closest friends, like I was changed. Like, every day I was like having someone over and I'm just like telling them about it. And people were kind of like getting these healing insights through it too. Friends of mine who will probably never have an interest in doing ayahuasca, they could hear my experience and be like, wow, I feel kind of healed from that too. Just because of like insights about the world and love. We're all one. We're so powerful. We all have such gifts. So because of that, and Jonathan witnessed this for like the weeks, he's like, I need to have my own experience the way that you did, and then we can do it together. So he's going in April, and hopefully we'll go together in June because I already signed up. I'm going in June. Like it is incredible. And yeah, it healed me on so many levels, and that doesn't even scratch the surface. So the fact that you guys are doing it is amazing. And the fact that it has even come into your consciousness is amazing. And just know that whoever chooses to do ayahuasca, she found you. Like ayahuasca found you. So you're meant to be there. And
I love that. Yeah, ours happened so naturally. It was like someone's like, hey, do you want to be connected? And then everything just flowed perfectly.
Yeah.
It was like, because we said, I was like, I would do it.
Right.
Like shoulders shrug. But it's just, it happened so easily for us. So I was like, all right, cool. Like this wants to happen. Like this situation wants to unfold in my life. Yeah, it'll be cool. Yeah. And Susie Batiste too has also been an inspiration with all of her ayahuasca shit.
Yeah. Who is that?
Susie Batiste. Oh, Poopery
founder. Yeah. Wait, okay. Now I know everything's genuinely interconnected because just yesterday, my past life regression therapist, who I love, who's been on this podcast, told me you have to have Susie on the podcast. And like, here's her info. His name is Jeroen. It's like Jeroen. Did you see him?
So I saw that she went to him.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's incredible.
Are you going to go?
We want to,
we're going to get a session.
Yeah. Do it. He's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, you should listen to the episode where he came on because he's just like really powerful person, gentle soul. The therapy session, like prior to the regression, is so healing as well. Like more healing than like all the years of therapy that I've had combined.
Wow. Is it like a Reiki or a talking or
talking?
What? Wow.
Like the things that just come up.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I cannot wait.
Yeah. So I told him yesterday, this is how I know the world is so like the things that are coming up that are connected to each other. But I told him yesterday, I have to come back in because after my ayahuasca experience, I feel way more connected to my past lives. And I think the last time I had a lot of blocks and I did see my past lives, but it was very hazy. Very, very, very hazy. And I question, like, is this my imagination? Not anything to do with his skill, but yeah.
It's also with you, it's hard because you're such a reflector. You're like, it's always like, is this mine or someone else's?
Well, yeah,
with
exactly.
everything you
I'm
do,
like,
you're like, is this me or the world?
Literally. I was like, because I saw myself as an author in like the early 1900s in
I could see that.
Europe. Me
Yeah.
too. But I also was like, am I just envisioning like one of the female authors who I know of? Like, I really wasn't sure. So doing it again is going to be awesome.
Yeah, we're so excited. I want to meet with him too. I love past life stuff.
Oh, it's so cool. So of all the people you guys have had on your podcast, what's like the most, of all the woo-woo things that we all love, what has resonated with you most? Other than human design, because I think we all agree that's up there.
Human design is just so powerful. That is probably like one of the tools that I highly recommend. You know, Susie Batiste with ayahuasca was like a big inspiration for us for sure. I think Milana Snow for me was like one of the most powerful energy understanding conversations, you know, because we were at a time where we were on tour and, you know, we had done 15 cities or something. And we had been, you know, we were early on in the tour actually at that point. So I was just a little nervous in preparation. Like, okay, are we going to be able to hold space and energy for the room? Are we going to have the energy for everyone, you know, to like love them and to receive them and hold space? And she taught me and told me about, you know, like energy as an exchange and like as a circle. So as I'm giving energy to them, I can also think about people that are coming to our events, hopefully, you know, love us and like the podcast. So they must have an affinity for what we're doing. So I can think of myself as receiving the energy that they have for me. And then I'm also giving it to them. So that energy is able to like fill me up, lift me up, allow me to like really do everything that I can. And then also giving energy back to them. So I've really, really seen that as an ability to fill me up whenever I need it. And I do that now in, you know, my life with my relationships too, like making sure that I'm like energy giving as well as energy receiving, because for a long time, you know, I could have been on either sides, an energy giver and energy taker, but managing and understanding how that energy works has been like something that's been very powerful.
There's so many. One that sticks out for me is Natalie Miles, when she talks about communicating with your spirit guides and your angels, has been, at least recently, really prominent, like in my everyday. Because I think like for so long I was like, ugh, like I have no help or support other than like, you know, the usual like friends, family, which is amazing. But it's like, I just didn't feel like as taken care of. And they were literally just waiting for me to ask them for help and guidance and support. So to be able to communicate on a regular basis, whether it's just, you know, through my heart or even like writing, allowing them to kind of channel through me and write, has been really just healing, I guess, as I navigate like things I've never done before. And I always feel like there's someone, a presence with me. And anyone can access that. You don't need to be woo-woo. You don't need, you know what I mean? Like, I guess it is woo-woo, but everyone has spirit guides. Everyone has angels. And it's just really sweet to think about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Who are some of your mentors?
Oh, people that I honestly don't even like know me are my mentors. Like I don't, you know, necessarily have someone that's like a direct person that's a coach or a mentor, but I try and see every conversation or every person as like a mentor or teacher. So whether it's on a podcast that I'll listen to that provides like insight or understanding, or even, you know, our conversation today, it's like I try and just take whatever hits me. I try and close my eyes. I think about myself and my energy receiving that, setting it in, and then try and learn and apply that for the rest of my life. Yeah, I think a lot of people can, you know, I guess I've had mentors in my life and stuff like that. And I probably will later on have like a specific mentor that I pay. But right now at like this stage, I'm trying to like just learn as much as I can from our guests and from our community and really tap in to like be my own mentor as much as I can be.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I think like I have people that come in almost on like a weekly basis where they might come in for a day and I meet them once, but then there's always something that lands, sticks with me that's meant to. Like, it's never forced. I have things that I think about. I'm like, oh, I'll never forget that. I will never forget that piece of advice or that ritual that they do that works for them and it really resonates with me. It's just, I think they're coming in and out all the time. And if you're open enough and attuned enough to that energy around you, that, you know, everyone can kind of be a mentor in a way.
Yeah. All right, guys, we have a new sponsor on the show. I'm so excited to welcome them to our Soul on Fire tribe and give you guys an awesome deal that they're offering. So this is Living Proof. They are a completely natural hair care company. You guys know that if I'm putting anything on my body or in my hair or anything that's ever going to touch my skin or my body at all, I choose natural, completely natural, organic, nothing with phthalates in them, nothing synthetic ever, no parabens, and no animal testing. That's super important to me because a lot of companies on the market, sadly, are not cruelty-free. So I always do my research. Living Proof is completely cruelty-free. So what sets them apart in terms of actually working for being a natural brand, because sometimes they don't work, as you know, as you probably know if you've tried, is that they work with technology from MIT scientists. So you know you're dealing with actual science, not just marketing gimmicks. Their stuff really works. Their dry shampoo is completely award-winning. It actually cleans your hair. It doesn't just mask the oil, the sweat, and the odors, but it completely removes all of that stuff, leaving your hair looking clean, feeling clean and fresh. And I need that because I wash my hair very sparingly. That's why you'll probably almost always see me with my hair in a slicked back bun because I like to sweat every day in my infrared sauna. I also like to work out when I'm feeling better than I am currently. So dry shampoo is my favorite. That's the one that I've been using from Living Proof, and you can actually see the results and feel them. So switch over to Living Proof alongside of me by visiting livingproof.com/blonde and use the promo code blonde, BLONDE, to get a completely free sample of their award-winning dry shampoo with your purchase. That's livingproof.com/blonde, promo code blonde, for a free sample of dry shampoo along with your purchase. livingproof.com/blonde, promo code blonde, and tell me what you think.
What do you think? Who's yours?
I know. I like your answers because a lot of people, they have like, they can just say their mentor off the top of their head. And I don't really have an exact mentor. I do think it changes. I have people I really look up to who are like my expanders, as like Lacey would say, like Gabby Bernstein. I see everything she's done and I feel like that path feels right for me. I love what she's done and I can look at that and expand my mind too. I could do that. Like that's my plan in a way, because I feel like plans change all the time and like who knows where I actually will go. But to have her in my mind is inspiring. I don't know if that makes her a mentor. Also, Nicola Berman, she's been on this podcast. She's a shaman. She lives in Ojai and she's actually officiating our wedding.
Wow.
Because she is my mentor. Like she's someone she's a friend, but I really admire the way she lives her life and she listens to those inner wisdoms of like, she moved from LA to Ojai for no reason, just because like her soul told her to and she knew she had to get out of the city. And I think those kinds of people who follow their soul unapologetically are always my mentors. I do think though it's kind of beneficial to have like a mentor, like people to not kind of, but really beneficial. So that's something I'm kind of like thinking about this year. Like Dennis, who's coming on the podcast in a couple hours, like he's definitely a mentor figure. I'm just like, if I could live as authentically as you and just like, just so whole with his being, record for 2 hours, like I told you, and then be like, let's just do it again.
Yeah.
Just because because like he wants it to be the best. He lives in such integrity. And I often am a bit more lazy. I'm just like, well, we did it already, but okay.
I know.
Like I do want to be more like that.
It's on that content wheel.
Yeah. So
it's interesting what you said about Nicola Berman. It's like what you love about her is that she got away from LA and went to Ohio, which is like,
I know. How funny. I mean,
secretly a Jordan desire.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I know. I'm sure I'm just, that's totally it. I mean, I would love to do something like that.
Yeah.
And I probably will.
You will.
Yeah. I mean, I always want to live here. I love community.
Yes.
And after cultivating that here, I don't ever want to leave. But I think going back and forth would be pretty healthy for me, healthy for my body, and healthy for my soul.
We can trade.
And for a lot of people, yeah right?
Let's do it.
I'm so into it.
Let's get a house.
Yeah.
I think with mentors too, it's like I see like such a beautiful thing of like having a maintained relationship where someone could be like deeply honest with you and they could have the permission to like call you out or like, you know, note on a shortcoming or a action that you do repeatedly that doesn't serve you. So that is like where I definitely see that being beneficial. But then I also am on the other side, like I don't really want to give someone the power to over myself or I don't want to give someone the power over me. Like I don't want to give someone the power or permission to like dictate who I am or what I'm going to do or who I'm going to be. That should really be like in my control at this point in time.
Yeah.
You know, like people I know and admire and love have mentors and I don't think anything less than them because of it. But for me at this point, it's like, I just am still learning to listen to myself and I want to fully understand what my voice is and what she has to say before I introduce any other voices. Because I've spent most of my life listening to other voices.
That's so powerful. I totally agree. Especially like if someone who you really admire tells you you should do this, like you're going to listen to them. And then sometimes you might look back, especially as a projector or reflector and be like, that was not the right decision at all for me. That's
100%.
Yeah, super powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. What are your sun, rising, and moon signs?
Oh,
if you know.
My sun sign is Virgo, my rising is Libra, and my moon is Gemini.
Ooh, look at you.
I know.
You're like earth and air.
Earthy air.
Yeah, that's so good. That's such a good combo.
I'm Pisces sun, Leo rising, and Scorpio moon.
So you guys are pretty different.
Very different.
Yeah. So you're water.
Water.
Fire. And water.
What's Leo?
I think Leo's fire.
And water. Scorpio's water.
Scorpio's water.
So like double waters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love it.
I know.
You guys are a really good balance.
balance.
Wait, because you're earth and air and you're water and fire. What?
I know. Okay. We did our charts the other day too. And it was weird.
It was kind of
like our nodes were like at the same spot or something.
Yeah, I forget what she said.
It was really weird, but she was like, "Oh, this is like very odd that like your south node is on the opposite side of her south node, and like our south and north nodes were completely opposite of one another or something. Like it was very weird." She's like, "Oh, this makes sense because this has this," and she's like, "You guys have spent like lots of lifetimes together," which was like
You're
funny.
Gonna see that on ayahuasca.
Oh, we definitely are. And I'm excited to like see what the hell.
I know. Totally.
Oh, I know.
They gotta separate us.
What did I do to you, or what did you do to me?
Totally.
You know what I mean? Because we dated, or she was my dad.
Oh yeah. Apparently, I was her dad during one lifetime.
Yeah, one lifetime, and then we dated for one. So I wonder what happened.
Oh, we need.
I know. Isn't that interesting?
Yes,
I know.
Oh my
God. So that's exactly. I want to see that.
Yeah, totally.
Because that could help us understand maybe our relationship more so now.
Totally.
I can't wait to hear.
I know
everything.
It's gonna be so interesting.
I get like irrationally excited when I find out someone's doing ayahuasca because it's so rare.
I'm excited too. That you have your place because I'm going to tell Justin, my boyfriend, to go there too because I want him to try it.
He should go.
He's so chill. Like I could literally see him just like laying there being like, like I don't know.
That's how I was on the first night.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering,
smiling.
But I'm excited if.
How many hours?
Like 5.5 to 6 per ceremony.
Wow.
But it lasts in your system for quite a bit longer than that.
Wow.
But that's like the intense part.
Okay.
But if Justin's interested,
Yeah.
The one that Jonathan's doing is
Yeah.
a men's retreat.
Really?
And I'll tell you about it after.
Okay. Perfect.
But,
wow.
you know,
I will,
just
like,
a thought.
I wonder, I could buy it for him for his birthday.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
You know, just like force him to do something.
Yeah.
he
Oh,
might
I
not
know.
wanna
I-
do.
I
Just
did
another
this-
thing you're
Happy
forcing.
birthday!
I did the same thing. I was like, I
the
will
worst.
pay for it. I need you to go.
Same. I do that all the time. I'm like,
yeah.
I'll pay for it. He's like,
Yeah.
it's not about the money.
I know. But when it comes to ayahuasca, like I've had to reel myself back because it's the one thing you can't force
Yeah.
someone
I
into,
completely agree.
because it could be quite traumatic if
Wow.
they're not meant to be there. But he decided on his own. So,
Oh,
God. Yeah.
yeah, literally, you're like
crazy.
3 weeks talking about it. You're like, he
Yeah,
decided on his
exactly.
own.
Every single day. I'm like,
whispering in his ear when he
Yeah,
sleeps.
you're like at dinner. You're like, well, this isn't like my ayahuasca experience, but
no, literally, I'm like, don't you notice how healed I am?
Yeah,
like, every
honestly.
second of every day, he's like, yes.
Oh.
I'm so happy. No, it's so funny.
Oh,
So, final question that I ask everyone who comes on: if you were a color, what color do you feel best represents your energy?
I'm yellow. Gold. Golden
Yes,
energy,
yes.
baby. Power center.
I'm green.
Yes.
Mm,
Cash money.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
that.
green. Yeah, cash
I'm
money.
just kidding.
And outdoors.
Yeah, I have so many plants in my apartment. I
Yeah.
like just like being among the plants and nature and being outside. And whenever I close my eyes, I see green.
Oh,
Most of
cool.
the
Oh
time.
wow!
Mhm.
Wonder what angel that is.
I know
I
it's
don't
the
know.
heart chakra.
It's the heart chakra. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Damn, Hudson looks like a little monk.
He is. Is he sitting by the
Hi,
refrigerator?
buddy.
Yes.
That's yep.
He's
because it's
literally
the
like, do
closest
not
to
call
his
me buddy,
food.
please. Literally was like, no, buddy.
No, he
I
likes you
respect
guys.
and honor you, Hudson.
He likes you. He was. I don't know if you saw him. He was crouching down there for like an hour looking
Yes.
at you.
Oh,
So cute.
he was checking out my energy.
He was.
You know what's so crazy? This I said this before, but so I'm studying Reiki, and in
You
the Reiki
are?
book, there's like the oldest book ever. There's no new literature on Reiki, and in the Reiki book, it's like Reiki came from here. Reiki is this. Reiki is that. You could do Reiki on animals, and it was like, but don't do Reiki on cats because cats feel like they invented Reiki.
Oh my god,
Isn't
that
that
is the
hilarious?
funniest and truest
Funniest thing ever. It's like some dogs you could do it on, but you have to ask for permission first, and most of them love it.
oh my.
Isn't that so funny? Because
God.
I could totally see cats.
He does Reiki on me.
exactly.
Like, I've tried to Reiki him, and he just looks at me like, "You don't even know what you're doing." And I'm like, "I know,
Exactly.
I know." And he's like, "Let me just show you how it's done." He's
exactly.
so funny.
Wow.
Cats are so wise.
I want one so bad. It's funny, Hudson. I'm not feeling anything, so I want to
Uh-huh.
be able to get a cat, but I've been allergic.
Yeah,
But I think if I was around one enough, I would.
you can become immune.
Yeah.
Jonathan
Did
was
he?
deathly allergic. Like when we first started dating, I didn't think we would last as a couple because he couldn't come over. Like if he came
Oh my
over,
gosh.
his head would feel like it was on fire and he would have to leave in like the middle of the night, like for months. And I'm like researching everything, like allergy shots and how do
I
people
think I
like
remember
become
talking
immune.
to you one time when this was happening.
Yes, because it was consuming me.
Yeah.
I'm sure I told you all about it.
Wow.
And he became immune. And a couple people had told me their experiences of becoming immune, either like their boyfriend or themselves. And I mean,
That's
obviously, we all
insane.
live together now, and he has no symptoms.
Wow. I'm ready to
So-
take the leap.
With the
For a cat.
kitty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could also get a hypoallergenic type of cat,
Oh,
which would
really?
be like a Bengal cat.
Cool.
But
But then I can't get it from the shelter though.
I know.
kinda-
I know.
Wanting to do the shelter.
I know.
You
I got
know.
him from No Kill LA.
Oh, you did?
Oh.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
He was a kitten. He was
I know.
he was 2 pounds in my
Oh,
hand.
God.
He was the only kitten left. I'm like, he's mine.
Totally.
But we have so many lives together as well.
Really?
That's what my whole session with Yaroon was about, was me and Hudson. He was my son in the lifetime where I was the author, and I died really young. And I promised him, like, we will always be together. We'll meet again. And he was like 5 years old and holding my hand,
Oh.
and leaving him was so hard. And I mean, that was one lifetime of so many.
Wow.
So I always ask him through psychics and animal communicators like Hudson, tell me about our past lives. And he's like, no, I can't believe you don't remember. Like, I won't tell you.
Really?
And I'm like, why? And he's like, because like we've had so many. And he just
Oh.
rolls his eyes. I'm like, I need to know.
Might be too painful too.
I know.
Oh,
Did he just
hiding it.
meow?
I know. I feel like yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure
If
though.
I'm not the only person who heard it, I think he did.
Hudson.
He
you
knows.
hear us.
He knows.
He's so
Wow,
sweet.
that's the craziest thing I've ever heard of.
Oh, I know. My little mouse. Now I'm just staring at him. Everyone, okay,
Hudson's
moral
a
of the
monk.
story. Everyone listening,
I know.
get a cat, adopt it from a shelter.
Yes.
Like saving an animal's life. There's no better feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, truly.
Dog, cat, whatever.
Yeah.
So where can people find you and find you on tour?
At Almost 30 Podcast on Instagram. You can join the secret Facebook group by searching Secret Almost 30 Podcast Facebook group. It's just a community of women like Jordan's that connect. And then almost30podcast.com, Almost 30 Podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. And then I'm Krista and I'm at 100blog on Instagram.
And I am at Lindsey Simcik. Lindsey with an ESIMCIK.
Yes.
Nice. So proud of you guys.
Oh,
And
thank you for having us.
so happy to have you on.
Adore you so
yeah,
much.
and
So
you
proud of
guys.
you to know you and see your growth and seeing you happy and healing is like, there's nothing better.
Truly.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode with Krista and Lindsey. Although I shouldn't be thanking you because these ladies are so awesome. This was just such a fun conversation to have, and I hope that you really enjoyed it because I enjoyed having them over. I enjoyed having this conversation. I really needed it. I was having a really low energy day. They came here. They really lifted my spirits. They're just such good people and the kindest hearted women, true friends. Like, they check in on me when I'm sick. They have sent flowers to my home when I wasn't feeling well. They just care and they really listen. And even though they were guests on my podcast today, they were curious about what's been going on with me and asking me just as many questions as I was asking them, as you could hear in this episode. I just think that they're so wonderful. I love to support wonderful women in this wellness space, wellness and spirituality space. It's so fun. Their podcast is awesome. Almost 30. Check it out. Also, huge shout out to our sponsors for today's episode. We have Silver Fern, amazing probiotics. You can use the code BLONDE at checkout with Silver Fern to get a huge discount. We also have the fabulous Daily Gem Real Food Vitamin, where you can go to dailygem.co/balancedblonde and use the code balancedblonde for 50% off of your purchase. And then we have our new sponsor, Living Proof, the natural hair care company that has the best dry shampoo you will ever try. Totally vegan, paraben free, all those good things. Use the code BLONDE at livingproof.com/blonde to redeem that one. And just so you guys know, all that info is always in the show notes. I don't expect you to memorize it or write it down. You're probably in the car or on a run or at work, who knows? And you probably don't have access always to go directly on the internet. So you can always find that stuff in the show notes, which is everywhere on iTunes. Always easy to find on thebalancedblonde.com/podcast. You'll always find the show notes. Lastly, join our Soul on Fire podcast tribe on Facebook to keep the conversation going. Such amazing people from all over the world in that group. You're sure to meet some new friends. And I love interacting with you guys there. Secondly, if you feel inspired to rate and review the podcast, just head over to iTunes and leave your rating and review. Send me a screenshot to Jordan at thebalancedblonde.com and I will send you my Soul on Fire yoga ebook, which I'm always so excited about and just truly can't wait to connect with you guys further. I like to thank you myself, do all that good stuff. So thank you again for being here, listening to this episode, being in the tribe. Cannot wait to share with you guys next week's episode with Nicolette, the founder of the Gerson Therapy Nutrition Program that I'm going to be embarking on at the end of this month. And honestly, I'm just so grateful for all of you. As some parting words today, I will say, go out into the world and perform some random act of kindness today. I don't know if I've done one today, but I try to do it every day, at least once. What have I done today? I'm kind of like drawing a blank. It's the evening now. Other than Hudson, I don't know if I've done any random act of kindness. So I'm going to go out into the world and do that this evening. That could be so much as just like completely smiling at a stranger, which I've definitely done. Saying thank you to somebody when you're feeling rushed at a grocery store, whatever. Just going out into the world and being your awesome selves. So love you guys. Soul on Fire Tribe. Talk next week and let me know what you thought of this episode.